Once upon a time, in a small peaceful village surrounded by green fields and tall trees, there lived a little brown dog. He was clever, strong, and full of energy, but there was one big problem. He was very, very greedy. No matter how much food he got, he always wanted more. Every morning, the dog roamed through the streets, wagging his tail, sniffing around for something to eat. The villagers liked him because he was friendly, but they all knew about his greed. Sometimes the baker would toss him a piece of bread, and the butcher would give him a small bone. The dog always wagged his tail happily, but deep down he thought, if only I could get a bigger piece, something better, something more. One bright sunny day, the butcher felt generous. He threw a big, juicy bone toward the dog and said with a smile, "Here you go, my friend, enjoy your meal." The dog's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Wow, what a big bone, this is mine, only mine," he thought proudly. He quickly grabbed the bone in his mouth and trotted away, tail wagging high in the air. He wanted to eat it somewhere quiet, where no one could see him, not even the other dogs in the village. So he walked through the narrow streets, crossed the green meadows, and finally reached a small wooden bridge over a calm, shining stream. The water below sparkled like silver under the sunlight, and the trees around were gently swaying with the wind. As the dog walked onto the bridge, he looked down into the water. And what did he see? Another dog, a dog holding a bigger bone in its mouth. His greedy eyes widened. "Oh my goodness," he thought. "That dog's bone looks much bigger and juicier than mine. I want that one. If I can get that, I'll be the happiest dog in the world." The greedy dog forgot that what he saw was only his reflection. He growled at the other dog. The reflection growled back. He barked loudly, "Woof, woof," and the reflection barked too. "How dare he bark back at me?" thought the greedy dog angrily. Without thinking for a second, he opened his mouth to snatch the other bone. And splash, his own bone fell straight into the stream. The sound of the splash startled him. He jumped into the water, trying to grab it, but the current carried it away. The cool water surrounded him, and he struggled to swim back to the shore, shivering and scared. When he climbed out, there was no bone, no reflection, nothing. Only the calm ripples of the water remained. The dog sat sadly beside the stream, dripping wet, realizing his mistake. "Oh no," he thought. "That wasn't another dog, that was just my own reflection. My greed made me lose everything." He lowered his head in shame and let out a soft whine. "If only I had been happy with what I had, I wouldn't have lost my delicious bone." Slowly he walked back toward the village, his tail no longer wagging. The bright day suddenly felt dull and grey. On the way he passed by other dogs playing in the sun, happily chewing small pieces of food. He looked at them and sighed. "They look so happy even with little things. I had the biggest bone and I lost it because I wanted more." When he reached the butcher's shop, the butcher saw him looking sad and muddy. "What happened, my friend?" asked the butcher kindly. The dog just looked down, ashamed, as if he understood everything now. The butcher chuckled softly and said, "I see, you lost your bone, didn't you? Greed never brings happiness, my friend. Remember this." He gently patted the dog's head and gave him a small piece of meat. The dog took it gratefully and ate it slowly. For the first time, he didn't wish for more. He felt thankful, not greedy. That night, he lay near the butcher's door, warm and full, thinking deeply. "Greed made me lose my bone. From now on, I'll be happy with whatever I get. Even a little is enough if I'm thankful." The next morning, when the sun rose, the dog looked fresh and happy again. He no longer ran after everyone for extra food. When the baker gave him a small piece of bread, he wagged his tail politely and went away. When other dogs barked at him to fight for food, he just smiled and walked off. He had learned that peace is better than greed. Days turned into weeks, and everyone in the village noticed the change. The once greedy dog had become calm, patient, and kind. The children loved to play with him, and the butcher trusted him so much that he even let him guard the shop at night. The villagers began to say, "Look at that dog. He used to be greedy, but now he's the gentlest one of all." One day, a little boy asked him playfully, "Hey doggy, where's your big bone?" The dog looked at the boy, wagged his tail, and thought, "My big bone is gone, but I found something better, wisdom." Of course, he couldn't say it aloud, but his eyes told the story. As time went by, he grew older and wiser. Every evening, he would sit by the bridge where he had lost his bone. He would look down at the water and smile. The reflection still stared back at him, but now he understood it. He had learned that being greedy doesn't bring joy. It only takes away what you already have. Sometimes he would see young dogs walking by with bones in their mouths. When they growled at their reflections, he would bark softly as if to say, "Don't make the same mistake I made. Be happy with what you have." And so the greedy dog who once lost everything became a teacher for others. The villagers started telling children his story, how greed can make you lose even what's yours. They told them, "Be thankful for what you have. Don't let greed take away your happiness." From that day, the greedy dog was no longer called the greedy dog. Everyone began calling him the wise dog. He spent his days peacefully, loved by everyone in the village, never chasing after more than he needed. And every night, as the stars twinkled above and the moonlight danced on the stream, the wise dog closed his eyes and whispered to himself, "Greed took my bone, but gratitude gave me peace."